Today we're covering the do's and don'ts of wholesaling real estate for beginners. Now, after training and working with thousands of wholesalers and flippers over the last 14 years, it's become apparent that knowing what not to do is as important as knowing what to do. Plus, if you stay to the end and just implement one of these do's and don'ts in your business, it can help you to make tens of thousands of dollars more per month and save you tens of thousands of dollars. Because you're not only learning from our deals, but our students' deals and a decade plus of experience. And when you stay to the end, you'll actually get this do's and don'ts download. I'll make sure you're able to download it with all of our timeless principles that allowed us to actually do over 12 million in revenue our first year. And this resource is actually something we share with our community and students, and we've got a lot of praise and the people seem to like it. So wanted to give it to you too. Now let's dive right in. Do's and don'ts of wholesaling real estate for beginners. Number 1, do not submit a real estate contract without an inspection contingency clause. When you're wholesaling real estate, an inspection contingency clause allows you to back out of a property that you have under contract due to the inspection of the property, but it's also a backout clause if you cannot find a buyer for your wholesale real estate deal. So if you put this property under contract and let's say you've seen the photos of it on the MLS, but when you go to look at the property in person 2 days later while it's under contract, you discover a $30,000 fix that needs to happen on the slab because it's cracked. Well, because you have an inspection contingency, you can back out of the contract and not be obligated to buy the property. And you can also get your refundable earnest money deposit back if you have one. And then at this point, you can work on negotiating your initial purchase price down on the property because you have this contingency and you have leverage. But most importantly, having an inspection contingency clause will allow you to wholesale risk-free because you'll always have a backout plan. So this is why I'm covering this as number 1, because if you're submitting contracts without this type of clause or no clauses at all, you're basically saying, I'm going to be buying this property no matter what. And buying the actual property itself, it isn't the goal of wholesaling real estate. The goal of wholesaling real estate is to put this property under contract, to have this backout clause, but then to successfully wholesale it to a cash buyer and get your actual wholesale fee. So what's normal for us in wholesale real estate transactions is that we usually start with a 7-day inspection contingency clause on each and every contract that we send on a single family house to wholesale. And as wholesalers, what we're trying to do is we're always trying to wholesale this house within that 7-day period. Because if we can't find the buyer, we can back out due to the inspection. So we always want to operate within this timeframe period, because once you're out of this timeframe period, then you're obligated to buy that property, or you can even lose your earnest money deposit. So do put an inspection contingency clause on each and every contract so you're protected, so you can wholesale virtually risk-free, and so you can have a timeline and time frame to wholesale this property to your cash buyers. Do's and don'ts number 2 of wholesaling real estate for beginners. Do not inflate or deflate your numbers when sending a wholesale deal to a cash buyer. I want you to really think about this. Do you want to work with someone who fudges their numbers? Someone who tells lies, who doesn't really tell the truth when talking about a property or anything in business? Probably not. Now, as professional wholesalers, we send our cash buyers our estimated ARV of the property, which is the after repair value, and this is what it will sell for in its best possible condition once it's fixed up. And we also send the estimated repairs needed to our cash buyer so that we can help them in the process and put numbers in front of them that are real and authentic. Now, what a lot of amateur and beginner wholesalers do is that they actually inflate their numbers. They'll inflate the ARV of the property. So when the ARV is $500,000, they make it $550,000. And then what they'll do is they'll also deflate the repair costs. And the repair costs are what it takes to bring the property up to current market trends. So when the repairs may actually be $45,000, an amateur may say it's actually $15,000. Now, when you do this, when you inflate and deflate numbers, your cash buyers are going to roll their eyes at you when they see your deals, and you will not be taken seriously. And it's these beginner wholesalers that start asking questions like, why aren't my cash buyers responding to my emails or my texts or my calls? Or why aren't they taking me seriously when I actually do talk to them? And here's the reason why. They're not taking you seriously because you do not know your numbers and you're actually fudging your numbers. Now, I'll be honest, this requires you to step up as a wholesaler and be different from the majority of amateurs that are out there. It requires you to actually know your numbers. It requires you to actually understand how to get an ARV through comping properties. It requires you to actually understand the repair costs for your local market so that you can assist your cash buyer. And with all this, it allows you to take the server approach and be the best wholesaler for them. And these are the actions that are going to get cash buyers calling you every single week saying, hey, Alex, when's the next deal coming along? Hey, I really want to work with you and keep sending me these great deals. This is exactly what we want our cash buyers to be saying to us. And these are the types of conversations we want to be having with our cash buyers. So do send accurate numbers because this will streamline your communication and you'll be able to build real relationships with your cash buyers based on a strong foundation of trust, rather than a foundation of fudge. Do's and don'ts of wholesaling real estate for beginners number 3, do not only wholesale deals that are solely a win for you. Let me explain the situation of what we want to do. We want to create win-win-win scenarios for everyone involved in the transaction. Now, typically, when we're wholesaling a house, that house that we find is in a distressed condition, and the seller's typically in a distressed situation. So maybe the seller is going through divorce or a job relocation, or maybe they're facing default and may not be able to make their mortgage payments. And so the first win we want to create as professional wholesalers is that when we bring a cash buyer to the table that's able to purchase their house for all cash, this saves the seller from their distressed situation. So this is win number 1. Now, the second win we want to create is a win for our cash buyer. We want to wholesale them a profitable deal so that when they fix and flip that property and resell it, it's profitable and they want to work with us over and over again. Now, when we make these 2 wins, guess what happens? A third win automatically happens for us. And this win happens in the form of a wholesale fee on that deal. And typically you want to aim for at least $10,000 to $20,000 as a starting point for your wholesale fee. And this is what we like to aim for on each and every deal. So when we ask the question of how can I make this deal a win for everyone involved, this is when you take the server approach and you're being selfless because you're taking care of everyone in the transaction. And this is how you're going to get sellers to actually give you referrals of other people in distressed situations where you can wholesale their houses too. And this is how you're going to get cash buyers calling you back to work with you again and again and again. And this is how you're going to get real estate agents that are calling you with distressed houses, perfect for wholesaling, both on the market and off the market. So take the server approach of not only creating deals or situations that are solely wins for you, and do create win-win-win scenarios for everyone involved, because this is what earns repeat deals, repeat business, and this is how you're going to have a wholesale and flip business that actually thrives. Do's and don'ts of wholesaling real estate for beginners number 4, do not speculate on the numbers of a wholesale deal. So what I mean by this is when you're calculating the ARV of the deal, the after repair value, what you want to do is use past historical sales comparables. You do not want to say that, hey, I can predict the market and I think the market's going to go up 5% this month and 10% that month and 20% the month after that. And then only in that scenario is your deal going to be a profitable one for your cash buyer. And only in that scenario is it going to be a profitable deal for you to wholesale. The best wholesalers and the best cash buyers do not base their business on speculation. And speculation is how you get hurt. Because now if the Fed increases interest rates or the prices level off or even start to go down, this is when you're going to get in and out of this business real quick. And this is when you're going to lose your shirt. So what you want to do is be a rational real estate investor. You want to be the investor that bases their numbers off of facts and figures, and the investor that bases their numbers off of past historical sales, rather than speculating and thinking that the market's going to go up and up forever. Now, by being rational and being conservative with your numbers, this is how you can make every deal into a great one instead of always trying to make sour deals into great ones. So base everything in reality, become the best at this, because as you start to evolve from solely wholesaling to wholesaling and fixing and flipping, you have to be conservative in order to succeed and be profitable. And we just cannot be speculative, because if the market goes down or even stays the same and you're speculating that the market's going to go up, this is where you're going to lose money on each and every deal. Or if you're fixing and flipping a deal for 6 months, you're just going to be breaking even or losing a bit of money. And this is not fun. Just ask me how I know. So I want you to learn these principles now. So when you're starting out, you're not speculating and you're not thinking that the ARV is going to be 550,000 when it's really 500,000. And when you do this, this is when cash buyers will finally take you seriously. And this is when you're going to be the best wholesaler in your area, wholesaling the most deals. So do what the best of the best do and base your numbers off of rationality. Do's and don'ts number 5 of wholesaling real estate as a beginner: do not state to your cash buyer or anyone involved that you're selling a house. And as a wholesaler, it's important to understand exactly what you're doing. And as a wholesaler, you are not selling a house, you are selling the contract rights, which is called the equitable interest in the contract. So once again, you're not selling the house itself, because selling a house is the job and duty of a licensed real estate agent. And so when you publicly go out there in the world and say, hey everyone, I'm selling this house and you're unlicensed, well, that's a no-no. And that's crossing the line. And that's when real estate regulators come out to you and say, what the heck are you doing here? And it's these wholesalers that do not know how to wholesale the right way and that do not know what they're doing that actually give wholesalers a bad name. So do understand that you're only selling the equitable interest in a contract. You're only selling the contract rights because that's what you do as a wholesaler. Do's and don'ts of wholesaling real estate number 6: do not focus on several deal acquisition methods at one time. For example, maybe you're already consistently wholesaling multiple houses from the MLS every month. That's fantastic. Now what you want to do is plug in other people into your business. So plug in acquisitions associates that can do the work for you before you go run off and start a whole nother acquisition method. Because if you don't do this, you're going to leave a system that's already working for you very well, and that system and that deal flow will dry up from that source. So when you can actually work on and systemize one acquisition method at a time and plug in other people into it, that's when you'll always have a pipeline full of deals, and you'll always be sending offers every single month. And you'll consistently be closing wholesale deals every single month because you're getting those offers out. And this is where I want each and every one of you, being able to close multiple wholesale deals every single month. So if you're interested in learning how to consistently wholesale houses from the MLS, just go to realestateskills.com/training and I'll show you exactly how to do that. All right, so don't focus on 10 different acquisition methods at one time, but do focus on one at a time. Then systemize and scale it in order to have wholesaling operations with consistent deal flow and a pipeline full of deals. Do's and don'ts of wholesaling real estate for beginners. Number 7, do not send out the deal to thousands of cash buyers when you have a wholesale deal. Now, this is where we differ from a lot of other wholesalers. A lot of wholesalers will tell you to build a cash buyers list of thousands of cash buyers across the nation. And maybe you do have this with all these emails and all these potential cash buyers, and then you get a deal and you blast it out to everyone. Well, we've actually tested this over the years, and what we found is that when we actually have 3 to 5 local quality cash buyers that are doing multiple deals every single month that we know on a first name basis, the likelihood of closing the wholesale deal is so much higher because you can actually work with people that you trust, that you actually know, and know on a first name basis. So at this point, with 3 to 5 local quality cash buyers, you can actually call them on your phone, talk to them about your particular deal, and see if they're willing to close on that deal, work with you on it, and pay you a wholesale fee right then and there with no delays. And the downside of blasting out your wholesale deal to thousands of buyers, guess what happens? You don't know everyone on that list, and you're going to have people that go behind your back, and you're going to have people that try and reach out to the seller themselves and take that deal right from underneath you. And so this is where if you build a team of 3 to 5 local quality cash buyers that you have a relationship with, then you don't need thousands of cash buyers, and you're going to dramatically increase your chances of wholesaling deals each and every month, and no one's ever going to go around you. And when we work with these local cash buyers that are doing multiple deals per month, guess what? These aren't the cash buyers that are going to be satisfied doing one deal every 6 months or one deal every 12 months. These are the cash buyers that want to be doing 5 to 10 deals per month. And these are the cash buyers that are hungry for your deals and want to pay you top dollar for your deals. And so when you focus on these types of buyers and build a real relationship with them, you're not going to be dealing with the tire kickers or the people that watch one TV show and think they're the best fix and flippers in the area. Because at this point, you're going to be dealing with people that are actually actively doing deals in your area today. And this is not only going to increase the likelihood of you closing your deals, it's also going to help you get the highest wholesale fees possible. And that's the goal here. The goal isn't to have some massive quantity of cash buyers. The goal is to actually have cash buyers that close deals on time and pay you large wholesale fees. So do not send out your deal to thousands of cash buyers, but do send them to a handful of the best buyers in your area that you have relationships with so that they can pay you top dollar for your contracts. And so you can average higher wholesale fees like $20,000 or $30,000 where they're ecstatic to pay you this money because they know the more money they pay you, the more deals you're going to bring them and the better the deals will get. And here's the last do's and don'ts of wholesaling real estate. Number 8, don't believe that every single offer you send or every single deal that you get under contract is going to work out. Now, in our experience, when utilizing the MLS to get wholesale deals, we see it takes anywhere from 10 to 15 offers sent in order to get a deal closed. Now, when you understand these numbers, that's a 6.6 to 10% acceptance and close rate. So if you're sending a low amount of offers, like 1 or 2 or 3 a month, you're not going to be getting many deals or any deals at all. And I really want you to understand this so that you have the right expectations. Because believe it or not, it was Wayne Gretzky, one of the greatest hockey players of all time, that said you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And in his career, he shot over 5,000 times on goal, but only scored 17% of the time. So this means he knew every single game he was going to miss 83% of his shots on average. Now, do you think this stopped the world's best hockey player? No. So just like I told you today, you know you're going to miss 9 times out of 10. But this shouldn't stop you. This should encourage you. You now know that every single offer you send, you're one step closer and one offer closer towards your goal. And this should be extremely motivating and light a fire under you. And so why the range of 10 to 15 offers to get one deal? Well, when you're starting out, you're not going to be sending as high of quality of offers, and you're not going to be as good as building relationships with agents, and you're not going to be as great with your numbers. So you're going to have to send a higher number of offers in order to get these deals accepted. But as you get better over time, the amount of offers that you need to send out will get less and less. So do not believe that every single offer you send is going to work out or every single deal, and that's completely fine. Do understand that you have to send multiple offers in order to hit 5 to 6 figures a month from wholesaling real estate, which is absolutely okay because it's all worth it in the end. And remember, we have the do's and don'ts of wholesaling real estate for you to download as a free PDF. All you have to do to get this is go to realestateskills.com/do, and you'll have all the timeless principles that we use to help us get over 12 million our first year in real estate. And we'll also put the link in the description, so be sure to get that, and be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for when the next video is coming out. We'll always keep bringing you the best content on wholesaling and flipping. And then drop a comment below. If any of these do's and don'ts resonated with you, let me know and I'll be sure to respond. This is Alex Martinez with realestateskills.com. And thanks for making it this far. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you like our content, definitely check out any of our other videos as well. We made them just for you to help you wholesale and flip more houses with consistency and predictability. So happy wholesaling, happy flipping, and have a great day.